the really juicy story that interests me is the Hunter Biden stuff. Oh my God. Dude, it played out like a movie today. He just walked straight into that committee hearing that's gonna hold him in contempt. He sat out in the crowd and said, "I'm willing to talk now, bitch." He said, "I'm willing to talk now." And they didn't know how to handle it. They just went schizophrenic. Marjorie Taylor Greene flipped out. All the other Republican congresswomen, women and men were freaking out, yelling. Hell, even when he left, him just leaving the room was enough to give Marjorie Taylor Greene an aneurysm. Oh my God, it was something else. We gotta watch it. We gotta watch it in real time. And when I say watch it, I don't mean we're just gonna watch a clip. We're gonna watch the committee hearing until after Hunter Biden leaves. And let me be clear with you, he's there for like 30 minutes. He comes in, he sits there to prove that he was willing to show up to the meeting. And a certain congressman is like, "Hey, let's have a vote on him speaking right now, if we're holding him in contempt." And none of the Republicans wanted to wanted to talk to him. None of the Republicans were interested in sitting down with Hunter right there and talking to him or doing it in public, because the main complaint that Hunter Biden has had is not that he's not willing to testify to Congress, is that he doesn't want to testify to Congress in a private committee hearing as the Republicans want it, so that they can misconstrue his words later. He'd rather do it in front of the cameras, in front of, the media, so it could be as transparent as possible, and so nobody could take his words out of context. Now, in my mind, if I'm the Republicans and I have some big bombshell on Hunter Biden that's going to prove that he and his father were selling out America's secrets, or selling out America, or, snorting crack dealer, whatever it is, I would be very happy to show that in front of the whole country, in front of C-SPAN, as the Hunter Biden hearing is broadcast into like millions of homes across America. But that wasn't accepted by the Republicans. And that's even after, at one point, the chairman of the committee said that the people called upon by the committee could testify. One second, let me see if I can find the exact quote. Oh, here it is. Here it is. We're in the downhill phase of the investigation now because we have so many documents, and we can bring these people in for depositions or committee hearings, whichever they choose. Whichever they choose. Well, they chose committee hearing. They weren't very happy about that. Anyway, Jamie Raskin brought this out too, right next to the chairman, just to kind of throw this out here. By the way, the Benny show is, I believe, Benny Johnson, for those curious about the source. Anyway, this is what happened. This shocked everyone because nobody expected this to happen. Hunter Biden didn't tell anybody he was going to do this. Look, check this out, man. Look how he walks in with all of his staff, man. Dude, Hunter Biden lives life full throttle.
These live images right now, we see Hunter Biden appearing at the Capitol, just walking through the door. It looks like he's surrounded with his Secret Service team there and other members of his entourage. But he is officially at the Capitol as these hearings get underway. We're looking at live images right now as he goes through, it appears, the metal detector, or nearby the metal detectors. We presumably expect him.
Dude, if he wants my vote, all he had to do is smoke crack in the committee hearing, okay? I'm kidding.
To enter at least one of these committee rooms, because again, this is before the Oversight Committee, also action happening in the Judiciary Committee. We're just going to follow these cameras and Hunter Biden and see where he's going to head, what's going to happen next.
He turns over to the bailiff. Mind if I smoke quick?
Again, he wasn't expected to show up for these hearings, from the sense of he wasn't called by the people holding these hearings to appear. So he's choosing to be there. I want to bring in former Assistant Manhattan District Attorney Catherine Christian and federal and white-collar criminal defense attorney Caroline Polisi as we continue to watch these images. It appears his attorney, Abby Lowell, is right there. Yeah, he did
it. Well, the thing is people are asking, he did it out of the blue. He did offer to testify in front of the committee, but they wanted it in private. They wanted it in a closed-off meeting between all the different legislators, so they can later be like, "We got Hunter." That's what it feels like to me. It feels like they don't have anything.
A tier 1 subscription. MTG is upset she didn't get Hunter's autograph. Her revenge asterisk.
Okay, I assume you mean revenge porn. But yeah, no, she was the one who showed the Biden balls to America. In that very same committee. And he did end up walking out on Marjorie. I think it may possibly in part because of that, because he wasn't very happy with her spreading those images around. But man, I really do feel like that. Well, you know what? I don't want to jump to conclusions, right? We'll watch the committee hearing together, but it really does feel like they just want to do it in private if they're unwilling to do it in public because they don't really got all that much. And it'd be pretty embarrassing for millions of Americans to tune in for them to say, Hunter Biden, so I heard you did drugs, and then that's it.
Alongside him, ladies, Catherine, what do you think his strategy is here, showing up during these hearings as they contemplate a contempt of Congress vote?
I think it's his way of saying, I will testify. I've always said I will testify. I'm not going to do it in secret. I'm going to do it in public. So that, to me, is his statement that he's making today. He has always said he will testify. He just doesn't want to do it in secret. So it's really hard to argue that he's in contempt because he refused to testify. It's just the forum, secret or in public, for everyone to see it.
And that's what his attorneys have argued all along is...
Again, throwing it out there again, the committee chairman said that he could do it in a deposition or he could come before the committee and testify. So, I mean, he said whatever format he chooses. He chose this format. Now they're unhappy.
He's not defying a subpoena. He's just trying to...
Dude, and I'm not even like a huge... Look, I joke about Hunter Biden being like the best political leader of a generation because it's mostly true. But I'm not like a super big Hunter Biden, like actual, like, oh my God, what a hero, whatever. As much as, I mean, he is a hero, obviously. But it's just, it's not that he does drugs. It's not that, you know, he benefited off of his father's name. Like, these are all things that, you know, other presidential children have almost certainly done. You think that Hunter Biden is the first presidential kid to do drugs? You think Hunter Biden's the first presidential kid to benefit off of his father's name, to sell shitty paintings or shitty anything when it's really not that good? But since he's son of the president, hey, Biden's the name, you know? I mean, that applies to Trump's kids. That'll probably apply to some extent to Obama's kids. That'll apply to Bush's kids. We can argue about the meritocracy, and I will agree with that. I don't like silver spoon kids. I like people who earn what they have, right? I don't like silver spoon kids. Part of the reason I don't like Trump. Point is, though, all of the stuff that they're trying to do to connect this to Joe Biden so far, they haven't been able to find anything. And if they just have a committee hearing where they're like, so you did drugs, didn't you? So you bought a gun when you shouldn't have that one time, huh? Yeah, that you already pled guilty for and was sentenced for. Well, you know, Burisma? Yeah. Can you give us some evidence about that? Connect to your father. We're having some trouble. Again, Hunter Biden, yes. For Joe Biden, you can consider him embarrassing, but it's not like Joe Biden particularly cares. But all the messages that I've seen that have been leaked of like Joe Biden's communication with Hunter Biden, it's always like Hunter Biden's like, Dad, I'm so sorry I'm messing up your life, man. You're like at the top of your game and like I'm messing everything. And he's like, I don't care. I love you, son. Like that's all of their communications. All of their leaked communications are like that. All of them. Every single one. It's like unbelievably supportive and loving. So, I mean, it wouldn't be that surprising because the one big thing they have been able to find, or big thing, quote unquote, is that that Joe Biden did speak at one point to one of Hunter Biden's business partners. That doesn't necessarily prove anything. And it also doesn't necessarily, like, it doesn't prove they were collaborating or anything. I mean, again, Hunter Biden engaged in a lot of drug use, engaged in some pretty irresponsible, sometimes pretty dangerous behavior. Joe Biden hears that he's involved in some business, goes, shakes his business partner's hand, is the end of it. That could be it. He's just like, oh, look, my son's doing work instead of crack. That's good. But who knows? Until they find anything else, that's all we can speculate. Anyway, back to this.
Make sure whatever he said in its full context is before the American public to hear, so that his fear was that the committee members, Republicans, would kind of splice and dice whatever he said behind closed doors and put out partial transcripts that would...
True. Well, I already explained that. So I want to go straight to the committee hearing. Do you guys? Okay. Here's my question to you, and I'll let you guys decide. I already know what I want to do. Do you guys want to just watch some clips, or do you want to watch the committee hearing until he leaves? Because I'm not going to watch after he leaves. Who cares after he leaves, right? Who cares after he leaves? But I want to watch the whole thing. I want to watch the thing until he leaves. Okay, so let's watch. Here's Mr. Comer. He's the chairman. He's also the chairman who said he could testify however he wanted until he testified in a way he didn't want.
Today, the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability will consider a resolution and report recommending the House of Representatives find Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress for his refusal to comply with a subpoena duly issued.
Hunter, dude, I wish they could. I wish for these hearings, the person getting like grilled in these back and forths got to ask one question, just one question in response. You know, as a type of tradition, they could ask any congressman or senator a question. And Hunter Biden goes up there, his one question, all he would have to ask right now, unironically, is, what crime did me and my father commit? And then that's that, because they don't have a crime yet. They're still looking for a crime. They're trying to find evidence that could lead to a crime, but they don't have a crime. And it's probably... that might be part of the reason they don't want to bring him in front of everyone. It's just not going to have much.
By the committee. The House Committees on Oversight and Accountability and Judiciary issued subpoenas to Hunter Biden for a deposition to be conducted on December 13th, 2023. On December 13th, Hunter Biden failed to comply with the deposition subpoenas relevant to the House of Representatives impeachment inquiry and the committee's oversight investigations.
Okay, so let me throw something out there, by the way, because I do want to be as fair to the people who try to go before these committees as possible. Every time somebody that doesn't show up, that doesn't mean necessarily they're not willing to show up. It could be that they don't want to show up in that format. And it is the job of said committee. Now, this isn't always true, of course. There are many people who just want to dodge committee. And if they don't want to testify in any way, then, well, eventually you're going to have to hold them in contempt. But the way it's supposed to work is the committee works with said person that they're trying to get to testify at a time that is convenient to them and that works best for them in a way that works best for them. You're supposed to work with them. And they're not. They're not with Hunter Biden after saying that they would. That seems to be my reading of the situation.
Instead, Hunter Biden appeared on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol where he read a short, prepared statement without taking any questions from the media. Our investigation has produced significant evidence suggesting President Biden knew of, participated in, and benefited from his family's cashing in on the Biden name. Based on witness testimony, Joe Biden was the brand his family sold around the world to enrich the Biden family. The Bidens and their associates...
Okay, so this is the problem. They don't have anything yet really connecting Joe Biden to Hunter Biden involved in some illegal activity. All they have so far is Hunter Biden using his father's name in order to enrich himself. That's undoubtable. But that's also something probably every president's son is guilty of.
Raked in over $24 million from 20...
Like, it'd be one thing if it was like he told them that Joe Biden was going to come over and sell state secrets, but if it's just like, hey, I'm the president's son, you should hire me because I'm the president's son. Maybe one day I'll call Joe Biden. Like, that's not a crime. That's scummy, but it's not a crime.
2014 to 2019 from countries like China, Russia, Romania, and Kazakhstan. Witness testimony confirms then Vice President Biden met, spoke by phone, dined, and had coffee with his family's foreign business associates. President Biden has repeatedly lied to the American people about speaking with his son's associates. We've also traced how money from the Biden's China deals and other influence peddling schemes landed in Joe Biden's personal bank account. We plan to question Hunter Biden about this record of evidence during our deposition, but he blatantly defied.
I think he might be talking about because at one point Joe Biden did lend Hunter Biden some money and then Hunter Biden paid back that loan. And it could have maybe been with some money that he made from a business dealing with Chinese businessmen. I'm trying to remember what he's referring to, but I'm having trouble. I'm still looking for the crime though.
2 lawful subpoenas. Hunter Biden's willful refusal to comply with the committee's subpoenas is a criminal act. It constitutes contempt of Congress and warrants referral to the appropriate United States Attorney's Office for prosecution as prescribed by the law. We will not provide Hunter Biden with special treatment because of his last name. All Americans must be treated equally under the law, and that includes the Bidens.
I do want to mention that Jim Jordan is on this committee, and he also didn't testify when asked to testify around what happened on January 6th.
Now, recognize Ranking Member Raskin.
You're having some trouble there.
Thank you, Mr.
Speaker.
Chairman. We believe that everyone subpoenaed by Congress, whether it's Hunter Biden or Jim Jordan or Andy Biggs or Steve Bannon or Scott Perry, should engage.
Fun fact, he's Jamie Raskin. He's a congressman from Maryland, which makes him better than all of you and all other congressmen because he's from Maryland.
In good faith compliance with the...
I mean, like, you know what? Raskin, I think when it comes to congressmen is on the better part of the spectrum. I would say he's close to like a Warren-esque Democrat. Yeah. In fact, he even endorsed Elizabeth Warren in the 2020 primary.
Committee's requests and the committee's subpoenas.
We boost this guy for bad hair. He also has cancer, so I think you might want to be careful about that.
We are here today because the chairman has bizarrely decided to obstruct his own investigation and is now seeking to hold Hunter Biden in contempt after he accepted the chairman's multiple public offers to come answer the committee's questions under oath before the American people.
True.
This is at the same time that they stand by the categorical non-compliance of Republican members of Congress, like Mr. Jordan,
who's on the committee.
Material information about the violent attack.
One moment. The cameras cannot be in the well. Cameras cannot be in the well. Cameras cannot be in the well. Yeah.
He looks so... he might be on another planet right now. I feel like there's like two monkeys with tambourines and his head just going bump, 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 bump. He's just waiting for this to be over.
Proceed, Mr. Raskin.
Thank you. But I was just making the point that our colleagues who are arraigning Mr. Biden today on charges that he has not rendered 100% compliance allegedly with a subpoena, are standing by Republican colleagues who've rendered 0% compliance with their subpoenas, including Mr. Jordan, Mr. Biggs, and Mr. Perry, when they have material information about the violent attack on the Capitol, the Congress, and the Vice President of the United States on January 6, 2021. In any event, for the last 11 months...
Wait, wouldn't that mean Hunter Biden, since he's at least willing to testify in front of a public committee, does that mean Hunter Biden has more gutspa, more, huts in his chest than Jim Jordan? I would figure like Jim Jordan is someone who's more willing to shoot from the hip than Hunter Biden. But I mean, how often have you guys actually watched Hunter Biden talk? All we've ever heard about Hunter Biden is other people talking about Hunter Biden. We've spent very little time listening to Hunter Biden talk. Question, genuine question. Can you guys remember the last time you heard Hunter Biden talk in chat? 1 for yes, 2 for no. I'm going to look at Gutter Chat and Site Chat, which is on screen. Okay, so Gutter Chat is all 2s. I think I saw one. Okay, so there's a single 1. Okay, so none of you don't even know the last time you've heard him talk. I think I've only heard him talk once or twice. In fact, I even had his, I bought his book a while ago because I just thought it'd be funny to have his book. The joke was just having his book. But maybe I can get the audiobook version if he's read it. That'd be cool.
Once the chairman has repeatedly refused offers from Hunter Biden and his attorney to meet with the chairman and his staff and with members of this committee. On February 9th, just one day after the chairman's first letter to Hunter Biden, Mr. Biden's lawyer responded and offered Chairman Comer to, quote, sit with you and your staff, including the ranking member and his staff, to see whether Mr. Biden has information that may inform some legitimate legislative purpose and be helpful to the committee. The chairman never responded. On September 13th, Mr. Biden's lawyer again wrote to Chairman Comer after a Newsmax interview in which the chairman falsely claimed that he never got a response back to his original letter. Mr. Biden's attorney explained the chairman actually never responded to his offer to sit down and discuss the committee's request, but stated that he remained available to have the discussion, but the chairman again completely failed to respond. 2 months later on
Damn, Chairman, he kind of looks, he doesn't look too happy right there, Mr. Chairman.
November 8th, Chairman Comer and Jordan issued subpoenas to Mr. Biden requiring his appearance for a deposition on December 13th. In the cover letter, the chairman noted, given your client's willingness to address this investigation publicly up to this point, we would
Willingness, huh? Willingness. That's an interesting word. I like that word.
expect him to testify before Congress. Throughout the fall, the chairman urged Mr. Biden to come appear at a public committee hearing on September 13th. On Newsmax, the chairman stated, Hunter Biden is more than welcome to come in front of the committee. If he wants to clear his good name, if he wants to come and say, you know, there weren't 20 show companies, he's invited today. We'll drop everything. On October 31, on a nationwide podcast, the chairman stated, we have mountains of evidence. Now we're ready to bring them in. We're in the downhill phase.
Okay. Raskin's on a roll. He's showing the hypocrisy. He's showing that they were fine with the public hearing at the start. Now that he's saying, okay, let's do the public hearing. Now they seem to be kind of wavering. Now they're like, I don't know about this. And they're avoiding it, holding him in contempt. All good. All fantastic. I do want to throw out there, though, all podcasts would be considered nationwide podcast. Is there like a Maryland like a podcast you can only listen to in Maryland? You should have gone even further and called it a worldwide podcast instead of a nationwide podcast. I mean, all podcasts are worldwide podcasts.
Drop everything. On October 31, on a nationwide podcast, the chairman stated, we have mountains of evidence. Now we're ready to bring them in. We're in the downhill phase now because we have so many documents and we can bring these people in for depositions or committee hearings, whichever they choose. For depositions or committee hearings,
He really likes looking at the floor today, the chairman.
whichever they choose, and we can ask these questions with evidence. On November
He must be wearing some real shiny shoes or something.
6th, again on Newsmax, our good chairman stated, I will extend that invitation on your show right now, Rob, if the Biden family wants to join Tony Bobulinski in an official oversight committee hearing and answer questions that the American people have, then that invitation's open right now. They can come on in and do that. On November 28th, Hunter Biden, through his lawyer, agreed to Chairman Comer's multiple public requests. He agreed to appear precisely at a public hearing under oath to answer the committee's questions on December 13th. Exactly what our good colleagues, the Republicans who had information about January 6th, never agreed to do. They never agreed to testify anywhere under oath.
Dylan, you okay? Sorry, I forgot to mute the mic. I thought the mic was muted while I was coughing.
About what they knew. The letter that came in from Mr. Biden embraced the importance of having a public proceeding that, quote, would prevent selective leaks, manipulated transcripts, doctored exhibits, or one-sided press statements, especially in light of the committee's past use of closed-door sessions to manipulate, even distort the facts,
Mr. Chairman,
misinform the
Mr. Chairman,
public.
I have an inquiry.
State your point.
What's your inquiry?
Mr. Chairman, don't we have House rules? And
No, I'm sorry. Okay, wait. What do you think she's going to say? She has an inquiry in the middle of Mr. Raskin's statement. She interrupted his statement. It must be very important. It must be, I believe Raskin violated, Section 7, Line 5, when it comes to tapping the desk of the House. Like, she must have a really good, important thing. Okay. Anyone want to guess? I don't even know, but I'm sure it'll be important. Let's hear it. I just wanted to prepare you for the importance of what she's about to say.
State your point.
Mr. Chairman, don't we have House rules and committee rules regarding subpoenas and then rules about having hearings and having questions with witnesses that must be followed?
Mr. Chairman.
Wow. Thank God she's in the room. Thank God we have an adult in the room to ask the real questions. Don't we have rules about like meetings and like calling people and like the stuff in the rules? Don't we have like rules, Mr. Chairman? Are there rules in America, Mr. Chairman? Fucking Jesus Christ! How did she put her pants on in the morning?
I'd like to reclaim my
Please
time.
state the rules, Mr. Chairman.
Hold on.
Please state the rules 1 through 7,892. All of them, please, right now.
We could
Before Mr. Raskin finishes his statement.
just interrupt each
Mr.
other with an
Raskin,
inquiry.
Your time was expired.
I'd like to know the rules of the House and our committee.
All of them? What? Like she gave no specificity. She was just like, can I know the rules, please? The rules generally? Just like any rule Mr. Comer chooses to share at this point in time?
Read them.
They're available to every.
Sorry. Who said that? Who said that? Who said read them?
Hold on.
We could just interrupt each
Mr.
other with an
Raskin,
inquiry.
Your time was expired.
I'd like to know the rules of the House and our committee.
Read them.
They're available to every member.
The rules state for a deposition, if that's what you're asking, 3 days notice. You have to have the stenographer and all of that. So.
I would love to see Marjorie Taylor Greene at a traffic stop trying to talk out of a ticket. Don't we have like laws and rules and regulations like regulating cops and like how they ticket people? Yes. Which rule would you like to talk about?
That's
Mr. Chairman.
So just to clarify, we can't have someone
Mr.
just
Raskin's
walk
time's
in.
expired.
Mr. Chairman, point of
Do
inquiry.
any other members wish to be heard?
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman, I did endure multiple interruptions in my opening. Could I finish? Would that be all
Well,
right?
you went over your 5 minutes, but I'll give you 30 more seconds.
Okay. The chairman refused to take yes for an answer from Hunter Biden. Instead, on December 1, they pulled a bait and switch. They changed the terms of their request. They rejected his offer or his acceptance of their offer and insisted that he now come in and sit for a secret closed-door deposition. On December 6, Hunter Biden's lawyer reiterated
Man, you know it's got to be bad if Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't want to be in front of a camera.
that Hunter Biden was willing to accept the chair's original request and once again offered to appear on December 13th or any other date in December to answer any question pertinent and relevant to the subject matter. He again raised concerns about closed-door sessions. That's what brings us to today, Mr. Chairman. He has materially, substantially, in good faith complied with what your requests were.
He complied with the subpoena.
We would
time's
have
expired.
We would have loved that.
Do
kind
any
of
other
compliance.
members wish to be heard? Chair recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Chairman Comer.
Oh, no. Okay. I would just throw this at you guys real quick. Miss May, she's a little different. Okay. You know, we know about Lauren Boebert. We know about Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. We know about the regular crazies. Miss May should probably is like bordering in that area. Like she's already pretty far out there, full MAGA crowd. You get the idea. But she's, you know, I think like maybe she should be considered in that basket. And you know what? I'll let her prove my point for herself.
First of all, my first question is who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today?
Well,
That's
there
my
it is.
first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
If
The ladies recognize.
if the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter
Stupid
Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr.
and
Chairman.
one
Let's take a
stupid
vote and hear
president.
from
I'm
Hunter Biden.
speaking.
What are you
women
afraid
allowed
of?
to speak
Hold on,
here?
hold on.
Are women allowed to speak in here? Are women allowed to speak about how that man is not speaking? By the way, we don't let him speak. Let's not take a vote on him speaking. No, but he will not speak to us. He will not speak. No, I will not have a vote on whether he can speak. I refuse. He will not speak to us, coward. Come on, man. This is the most powerful legislative body in the world, apparently. Okay. Everything's performance. Everything's performative. You know, it's not good when your democracy is not based on, like, you know, truth or some, like, collective knowledge, but is instead based on who can do the largest clown show. And it's just who can spend the most money on fireworks who ends up winning elections.
Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Did you keep interrupting me?
I'll interrupt the chair.
Man, if Mr. Comer turned around and said, no, they're not, and just continued, I'd switch parties immediately.
Chairman, I don't know that he's a lady.
I think that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our
Wow.
nation is found
That's
in
how
the
we do
rule
law.
of
Come on, come on.
And the premise
Come
that the
on.
law applies equally to everyone, no matter what your last
Point of
name
order,
is.
Mr. Chairman. Point of
It
order.
doesn't matter.
I like that she says he should go to prison right now with no trial, nothing. He cannot testify, no jury of his peers, jail. Everyone, no matter their last name, should get the same treatment before the law. Biden needs to go to prison now. Everyone, same treatment before the law.
Matter who you are.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Biggs over here.
Donald Trump Jr.
Biggs over here.
State your point, Mr. Biggs.
Yeah, my point of order is this. Are we going to continue on with this blatant interruption? This is absurd and inappropriate. I intend to give my statement. I don't intend to have anybody interrupted. I'm not going to interrupt your statements. I think you should have decorum and courtesy and don't act like a bunch of Nimrods.
You just interrupted a woman.
And that's 5,
I got...
Dog, it's so unserious. It's so unserious. Oh my God. You think, wow, who thought that this crowd of characters wasn't able to find anything solid to pin Joe Biden and Hunter Biden together? Oh my gosh. Fucking Three Stooges ass committee hearing.
I got permission.
Can we agree everyone has
Mr.
5
Chairman,
minutes? Can we agree?
Point of order again. The assertion that I interrupted was absolutely false. That's typical of the gentleman who spoke it. I got permission to speak from the chairman. I spoke. I was interrupted yet again by the gentleman who doesn't choose to go through the chair and follow proper order. I encourage us. I think if we're going to have any respect at all, we need to have proper decorum.
Well said. Well said.
I'd like to finish.
The rules are everyone's going to be recognized for 5 minutes. Anyone that wants to be recognized will be recognized for 5 minutes. Ms. Mace has 4 minutes.
Dude, people tell me, like, hey, Dylan, your hippy-dippy politics was so performative. And, you know, that's harmful to American politics because that's, man. Not only does online politics need good moderators, Congress needs good moderators.
And 13 seconds left. Chair recognizes Ms. Mace.
It does not matter who you are, where you come from, or who your father is, or your last name. Yes, I'm looking at you, Hunter Biden, as I'm speaking to you. You are not above the law at all. The facts in this case are crystal clear. This committee used and issued a lawful subpoena to Hunter Biden, a critical witness in this committee's investigation into Biden family corruption. Hunter Biden and his lawyers did not claim privilege of any kind because clearly he...
Again, they said they testify. Again, I don't know how many times I have to say this. This is the last time I'll say it. They're going to keep repeating this point, but he was willing to testify. They said you can testify in any form you want. He said, let's do it public. They're like, dope. After the guy, the chairman, said, yeah, you can do it publicly too. Then in December, 180'd. And then the Hunter was like, wait, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable doing this private. I want this to be as transparent as possible. And now he's showing up today to prove that he was willing to show up and he was willing to answer questions. Even to the point that one of the people on the committee was yelling, hey, let's vote right now. We can have him testify right now, which they could. They could. But no, instead of having them testify right now, having him testify in public, it has to be in private where nobody can see it.
He has none. They didn't contest the legitimacy of our reasons for issuing this subpoena. No reasons, because they clearly are legitimate. And yet, he refused to comply. Trump's family members, Don Trump Jr., he did not defy a congressional subpoena. He showed up multiple times for multiple depositions for several hours. In doing so, Hunter Biden broke the law. He did so deliberately. You did so flagrantly. You showed up on the Hill, on the Senate side.
By the way, you want to remember those if you want to know what those hearings were like, those investigations, every interaction. No comment. I don't recall.
Several hours. In doing so, Hunter Biden broke the law. He did so deliberately. You did so flagrantly. You showed up on the Hill, on the Senate side, the day of that congressional subpoena to defy it and spit in the face of this committee. That's what you did. The question the American people are asking us is, what is Hunter Biden so afraid of? Why can't you show up for a congressional deposition? You're here for a political stunt. This is just a PR stunt to you. This is just a game that you are playing with these.
You can have a vote right now. You can have him testify literally right now.
the American people. You're playing with the truth.
If it's a stunt, then call his bluff and have him testify. If it's a stunt, you'll embarrass him. You can take out all the questions, rail him with them, and then, oh, look at you. You're the hero of the MAGA crowd. Why not do that?
Hunter Biden wasn't afraid to sell access to Joe Biden to the highest bidder when he was in elected office. He wasn't afraid to trade on the Biden brand, peddle influence, and share.
So they just want to like be able to rattle this off while he doesn't get to like clarify anything. Okay.
Those ill-gotten gains with members of his family, including Joe Biden. He wasn't afraid to compromise the integrity of the presidency and vice presidency by involving Joe Biden in shady business deals with our foreign adversaries. But Hunter Biden, you were too afraid to show up for a deposition. And you still can't today. I believe that Hunter Biden should be held completely in contempt. I think he should be hauled off to jail right now. Because it wasn't long ago, too, my friends on the other side of the aisle, that you also believed in the power of a congressional subpoena. Not long ago at all. You believed in holding those who refused to comply with congressional subpoena accountable. And I stood with each and every one of you. I am the only member in this room today who has held a member of my own party in contempt of Congress for not showing up for a subpoena. And I see nothing but complete hypocrisy on the other side of the aisle. The ranking member of this committee even so eloquently put it, the lesson is, please tell your children out there in America, if you get a subpoena to go before Congress, go. You have a legal responsibility to do so. So the hypocrisy is stunning. What are we to tell our children today? There's nothing the other side can say with.
What does that even mean? What are we to tell our children? Hey, Hunter Biden showed up willing to testify, but we wanted to do it in private, and he wanted to do it in public, and we no longer wanted to allow him to do it in public like we said before. I don't know what your child would probably say, okay, and then go back to playing Garry's Mod or something. Probably wouldn't care at all.
The straight face. As the only member of this committee to vote to hold a member of contempt of my own party, let me be clear, this should not be a partisan issue. If Congress issues a subpoena, you show up, period. This is not a responsibility we take lightly. It brings no joy for us to do this, but the president's son broke the law and must be held accountable in the same way anybody else would. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to do so. And my last message to you, Hunter Biden, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question? Will the gentlelady yield? Will my friend yield from South Carolina?
Sure.
I do want to commend the gentlelady who was the only Republican who stood up and voted to hold in contempt the Republican members of the House who blatantly and categorically refused to comply with subpoenas that came from the bipartisan January 6th committee. I would like to ask my friend, Ms. Mace from South Carolina, whether she's aware of all the case law which says that the committee has to engage in good faith interaction with the witnesses they've called, and they're supposed to arrive at a solution. And
this is true.
What do you think about the fact that the chairman on multiple occasions gave this witness the opportunity to come before the full committee, and he agreed to that?
We issued a congressional subpoena, and I know with your constitutional law background, you know exactly what that means, and he should have showed up, and because of your vote and because of your statement.
Okay, so she's just ignoring his question completely. So you didn't, you know, you're like, oh, can I bring in an inquiry? No, it wasn't an inquiry. You just want to rattle off because you're, whatever, man. I don't know what I expected from this committee hearing. I don't know, semi-serious politics, maybe?
You should be voting to hold this man in contempt of Congress today, right now, if you're going to be consistent on your own policies.
He's not
and your
answering
own
his
words.
question.
Gentlelady's time's expired. Chair recognizes Mr. Moskowitz for 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's good to see you after a long break. So, I'm listening.
No. Is it who I think? Is this the King of Sass I think it is?
To the gentlelady from South Carolina.
Oh, it is. This guy's very sassy. This guy is the sassiest straight man I've ever seen in a committee hearing.
About the witness being afraid to come in front of the committee. It's interesting. He's here. He doesn't seem to be too afraid. In fact, for some reason, the chairman, who on multiple occasions invited the witness to come on TV. So apparently the chairman wants to pretend like his statements on television or in interviews don't matter. But it didn't happen once. It didn't happen twice. It happened multiple times. The chairman said the witness can choose whether to come to a deposition or to a public hearing in front of the committee. The witness accepted the chairman's invitation. It just so happens the witness is here. If the committee wants to hear from the witness and the chairman gave the witness that option, then the only folks that are afraid to hear from the witness with the American people watching are my friends on the other side of the aisle. I don't know if there's a proper motion, Mr. Chairman, but I'll make a motion. Let's vote. Let's take a vote. Who wants to hear from Hunter right now, today? Anyone? Come on. Who wants to hear from Hunter?
I'll vote. I don't think it'll count, but I'll vote.
So,
none of them.
I'm a visual learner, and the visual is clear. Nobody over there wants to hear from the witness. Oh, there's one. Thank you.
Will you yield for a question?
I'm not there yet, but I will eventually. So there's no one, other than one or two, that want to hear from the witness. So the majority of my colleagues over there, including the chairman, don't want to hear from the witness with the American people watching. So, Mr. Chairman, I just want to hear from you. Will you acknowledge that you invited the witness on television to choose whether he could come to a public hearing? And do you stand by your words, or do you renege that invitation to the witness?
To answer the question, I've said repeatedly, after the deposition, Mr. Biden can come in front of a public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to play the video, but that is not what you said on television multiple times. We have the quotes. We can put them up. You said the witness can choose between a deposition.
Listen, Mr. Moskowitz, Mr. Biden doesn't make the rules. We make the
rules. No, Mr. Chairman, you make the rules. And the rule you made is that he can choose.
The rule is...
Those were your words.
I got new rules. It's changed, Mr. Moskowitz.
Reclaiming my time.
He was issued 2 lawful subpoenas.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman. No, you issued those subpoenas after he took you up on your invitation to come, and then you were like, oh, no, oh, my God, what did I do? I invited him to come so the American people can hear his side of the story. I put my foot in my mouth, so now I must bury him in the basement where we can decide what we're going to release to the public so that we can continue to tell that story. Mr. Chairman, you have said multiple times that this is not about Hunter. It's about Joe Biden. And even this morning on Mornings with Maria, she asked another simple question, the question you have been asked multiple times, which is, do you have evidence to impeach the President of the United States? Before you said, I hope so. Today you said, I think so. And the answer is, you don't. And you still don't. And so we continue to be here and have these charades. To my colleagues who talk about lawful subpoenas, I appreciate the gentlelady from South Carolina who voted to hold people in contempt. Listen, I'll make this bipartisan. I'll vote for the Hunter contempt today. You can get my vote. You can get my vote. But I want you to show the American people that you're serious. Here is the subpoena to Representative Scott Perry, who did not comply. I'd like to enter this into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mark Meadows. I'd like to enter this into the record, who did not comply. Here is the subpoena to Jim Jordan, who did not comply with a lawful subpoena. I'd like to enter that.
This guy is he has 20 stunts up his sleeve. He was ready. He's like a performance artist at this point.
Here is the subpoena to Mo Brooks, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mr. Biggs, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. And here's the subpoena to Mr. McCarthy, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. There's an amendment coming to add some of those names into the contempt order. You vote to add those names and show the American people that we apply the law equally, not just when it's Democrats, right? It's a crime when it's Democrats, but when it's Trump and the Republicans, it's just fine. No, show that you're serious and that everyone is not above the law. Vote for that amendment, and I'll vote for the Hunter Biden contempt. I yield back.
Gentleman's time's expired. Chair recognizes Ms. Green from Georgia for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so at this point, I do need to give some context. Hunter Biden gets up and leaves. I think right when he sees Marjorie Taylor Greene's about to speak, he's like, okay, well, I'm done. And he leaves. I think this might be, people are questioning as to why this was the exact moment he left. It could be a few things. It could be that, he doesn't respect her because of her record of just like really stupid statements, or like pretty gross statements. Most people in America don't like her. He might be part of that. He just doesn't want to give her any respect through his presence. And this is what I think I'm leaning towards, she was the one who in a committee hearing picked up a big picture of him naked and put it up on a plaque on a big board and like waved it around. His nudes, which were leaked. I think that might, if people forgot that, be something that got under his skin a little bit. He doesn't like that, and he doesn't want to be around her when she speaks. That might be it. He might also, and this is the third thing, and this is what I would have, this is why I would have wanted done it. I would have wanted done it because I would have want to have seen Marjorie Taylor Greene just freak out about me because I like winding her up. I would have loved, if I could be on a committee with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I would find some way to poke her as much as possible. Like I'd start randomly like doing hand signs, like triangle hand signs, like randomly throwing up like weird signs, trying to learn weird occult things, get just the tiniest triangle tattoo, like just see how much I could just. And this is a good way to wind her up. Anyway, who knows what it is? But point is, he walks out here. Some people say, oh, it's because he was scared of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I saw, what was it? Benny Johnson. Hunter Biden storms out in the middle of congressional hearing after MTG tries to question him. So first thing is, she can't question him because he can't answer questions. Because he's not, if they want to question him, if she really wanted to try to question him, then she should have gone and voted with Mouskowitz in order to allow him to testify then. If they wanted to question him. So he literally could not answer questions. And so he would just have to sit there and listen to her yap. And so he decided to leave. So that's the first thing. Wait, is this? Oh, I thought that was, oh my God. I thought that was Elon for a second. That isn't Elon. I was about, Elon, I can't believe he stormed out. Okay, back to the storming out. I just want to watch.
Me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words.
Whoa! Oh.
I like to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
Burst their bubble. Wow, that's too bad.
I think it's clear and obvious for everyone watching this hearing today that Hunter Biden is terrified of strong conservative Republican women.
That's the takeaway. I think everyone in America thinks that now. Yes, that was the conclusion. That was the conclusion. Look, the woman that talked before her is more competent than Marjorie Taylor Greene. If the fear was conservative women, then he just would have walked out earlier. It doesn't make any sense.
Because he can't even face my words.
What do you mean face your words? Oh, he doesn't. No, I don't think many people would like to listen to her. That's true.
Was about to speak to him. What a coward. And this is also a coward.
A coward who we don't want to talk to right now. And we need to hold in contempt for not talking to us.
That sat right here in front of Mickey Babbitt, Ashley Babbitt's mother, who was murdered on January 6th by Michael Byrd, the Capitol police officer.
Well, murder implies it was a crime, so he killed her by blasting her in the chest when she tried to jump over the final barrier to legislators. But I mean, if the circumstances were slightly different, she would have been at the front line of that crowd, leading the charge, like screaming QAnon slogans. So I understand it's hard for her to pick her allegiances with the people defending democracy or the people attacking it.
And you want to talk about a committee, a political sham? I'll totally disagree with you, Ms. Mace. That January 6th committee was not bipartisan. It was a complete setup to go after President Trump, go after...
Also, Ashley Babbitt's mother, he said, how dare he sit in front of Ashley Babbitt's mother? What? I'm sorry. Out of what? Look, it's sad that her daughter's dead. Anybody losing their child is horrific. It's sad, awful. No one should have to bury their children. I acknowledge that. But she's not like a 9/11 fireman. She isn't like a SEAL team guy who killed Osama or something. She's not like a hero. She's the mom of a person who stormed the Capitol trying to stop the certification of the vote, a peaceful transfer of power. If anything, I mean, and I don't mean to be too mean here, but it's also the truth. If I was Ashley Babbitt's mother, I would be thinking, oh my God, was that my fault? Did I raise her wrong? Did I raise my child to be a moron? To think that was a smart idea to charge over that last barrier after going through multiple police lines with a cop pointing their gun in front of you. That's what I'd think. Be like, man, I must have been a bad parent. Maybe it was society's fault. I don't know where she got this this idea in her head. You know, people get radicalized in a lot of ways. But I mean, she's not a 9/11 fireman. She's the mom of a person who tried to storm the Capitol and stop the certification of the vote.
Republicans go after anyone that
like it's like if I you know those I see videos sometimes on my feed because Twitter is like half bots, like 10% gore and like 40% real people, and like 20% of those real people are people pushing blood libel. But sometimes I'll get in that gore section that ends up on my feed unsolicited. Every once in a while I'll get like one of those like thieves getting wrecked compilation, and like a thief is trying to like goes into a store and tries to rob the store and then gets shot in the head. And when I watch that, you know, I understand a lot of people get like oh yeah, get the thief stuff. And I understand that feeling, but I also every once in a while will think about like if any of those videos ever pop up in my feed, like, oh man, I wonder if like, you know, they have a family, stuff like that. But I wouldn't like take the mom of the burglar and be like, oh, I'm sad that your kid's dead, and be like, wow, you're a hero. You're not a hero for raising somebody who robbed a store. You're not a hero for raising an insurrectionist. You're like, if anything, I'd be questioning myself if I was you. Anyway.
Believes in free and fair elections. People that believe the Department of Justice should be fair and balanced, not a political weaponized department of the federal government that is targeting President Trump, his supporters, people that walked in the Capitol on January 6th, and now people that stood outside the Capitol. There's been no justice for Ashley Babbitt's family. Michael Byrd has never been charged with anything. He was let off and he was given a promotion. And
what do you mean justice for Ashley Babbitt's family? What, they get to overthrow the government? What's the justice for her family? You're under arrest for protecting our legislators. In the future, police officers, when guarding legislators, should just let them get mauled by an angry mom that has already injured over 100 police officers.
And allowed to walk free. And Hunter Biden just walked out. That is an example of not following the law. Hunter Biden thinks he's above the law.
What is that even? Walking out is an example. I don't even know what she's saying, man. I gotta say, this is Trump's party. This is Trump's this is the purest distillation of Trump's party right here. And I'll meet MAGA people, and sometimes they'll even be like, man, I don't like green. I don't want to say associate with that wacko. But dude, this is the purest distillation of Trump's movement. Just an exception of a completely separate reality.
Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka.
Again, man, it's all about who has the biggest fireworks and who wants to believe, and believing whatever you want to believe, whatever makes your narrative happy, whatever you can find on the internet, whatever little section of the internet you want to call truth that will tell you that's truth. Whether it's her QAnon nonsense or her delusions about what happened on January 6th. Or, for example, when she was saying that like the Ukrainian government was funding their war effort, harvesting the organs of babies. Just an exception of like a post-truth standard for her own reality. It's really fucked. I don't really know if she really realizes it though. I think she might be a true believer. I think she's just genuinely crazy. You know, a lot of times when I see people like buying the Trump narrative or buying like things he says at face value that are obviously not true, I'll think like, no, he knows. For her, I think she'll believe it. Whatever she wants to believe, she believes.
Trump family members had to come in to Democrat subpoenas and be questioned by Democrats for over 8 hours, each of them. Hunter Biden runs.
I mean, remember, I just say this one last time. She was a QAnoner before she was in Congress. And now since then, it's been like, okay, I guess QAnon wasn't that cool. But it's still like posting QAnon stuff like all the time, like QAnon type stuff all the time.
Away. Hunter Biden did not come when we subpoenaed him. He did not follow the law. And then one of our colleagues helped him evade his subpoena by going and reserving.
By the way, that's not even that special anymore. She's not the only former or current QAnoner in Congress.
A press conference for him on his behalf, helped him evade the subpoena, helped Hunter Biden break the law. Let's talk about his own father's words. President Joe Biden said in October 2021 that individuals who defy subpoenas from the January 6th House Select Committee should be prosecuted.
If Mike Johnson came before the committee, like not Mike Johnson, if any of the people, I was thinking of the House Speaker, I was trying to say Jim Jordan. If any of the people who dodged their paperwork, dodged testifying, came before the committee to do it in public, the committee would have been like, fine, yes, of course, yes, let's do it. But that's not how you guys are engaging with Hunter Biden. It's a different standard. The situation's completely different. It's not even comparable.
And the Justice Department indicted Steve Bannon for doing
Let me ask you
so.
guys a question. Do you think if Donald Trump said he would testify before the January 6th committee, if they allowed him to do it in public, do you think they'd say, no, we have to testify Trump about the guy who constantly lies? When he breathes, he lies. We would have to do it in private. No, they'd love to do it in public because they, number one, they know they can make him make an ass of himself if he actually answers any questions, and that they probably catch him on the record for lying. And then you could hold him, accountable for those lies directly.
November 2021, Hunter Biden.
That's the thing. If he testifies before Congress and he lies to anybody up here, like that comes with major legal repercussions. So that's another thing about why this baffles me. It's not like, oh, well, in public he's going to lie, where in private we can get to the real truth of the matter. If he lied in public, you can hit him on that, and you could hold him accountable for that. It just, man, why not just hold it in public?
His father, the President of the United States, said that he should be prosecuted. Anyone that defies a subpoena should be prosecuted. Hunter Biden didn't show up for his subpoena. Hunter Biden showed up today to make a clown show of himself to show that he is nothing.
She would know, wouldn't she? She would know about clown shows.
But someone that will not obey the law, that wants to show up when he wants to, and sits here with a smug look on his face and runs away when it's my turn to talk. Not only is he a criminal, but he is a coward.
Wow.
Nothing but
Brave.
a coward. Let's talk about voting for things. We have members on this committee that are on record on their own Twitter accounts talking about people blowing off subpoenas on the January 6th committee that states the rule of law is stirring all over America. That's Representative Jamie Raskin. Right here, I'll enter this for the record. Representative Jamie Raskin, Steve Bannon has been convicted of acting in contempt of Congress. My argument with Rep. Gates is now settled. If subpoenaed, you show up and assert any privilege you think applies to specific questions, but you can't blow off the proceeding. He blew it off. Walking in today is too late. We have to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress because he's not above the law, and neither is the President of the United States. And this committee has produced more evidence that any Democrat ever dreamed of having against President Trump and his...
They don't have fucking anything yet. If you ask them what crime he committed, they can't say. How can you say you have more evidence than ever, and then when asked what the crime is, you don't know the answer to it?
Family, while they constantly make up...
Like if I was building evidence for a murder case, someone asked me what the charge is, I say murder. If I was building evidence for a theft case, if somebody asked me what the charge was, I say theft.
Lies and attacks about the Trump family and President Trump, they make them up all day long. It's nothing but a political witch hunt. This committee has produced the evidence that Joe Biden has taken payments through his son, Hunter Biden, and all their dozens of fake LLCs. You can't buy a Biden product. You can't hire a Biden for a service unless you're a foreign country and you're asking and paying for political favors and political payouts. And that is exactly what the Biden...
By the way, there was a story that broke just in the last week that Trump took $7.8 billion into his businesses while in office from foreign entities, including the government of Saudi Arabia and China. Just wanted to throw that out there. But I mean, that was like a story. We knew about the Saudis buying hotel rooms from Trump, like 500 hotel rooms in his hotels and his failing businesses, so he didn't have to... it was like a workaround where Trump said that he wasn't going to give up his businesses, but if there was like any foreign, companies or foreign, governments that would like try to contribute to his businesses and bribe him in that way, that he would simply take that money and then give it to the government. But he only ended up giving $137,000 to the government when he took a lot more. And the reason why is that a lot of that money was pumped into failing businesses. And as long as there's not a profit made, he doesn't have to count it. So, I mean, that story broke like a week ago. Just saying.
Brand is all about. We will hold Hunter Biden in contempt. And if the Democrats are not the hypocrites that they constantly display that they are, then they will vote for contempt of Congress because they voted for it on every other subpoena that didn't go through. And here's the last thing. You guys had your chance. If you wanted to hold people in contempt of Congress, you could have done it last Congress, but you didn't do it, and it would have been a major mistake because you know that it could have been turned exactly back on you. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Well, okay, we're done. This is gonna go on and on and on and on and on. Well, gee, AOC's on this? I didn't know AOC was on this. What does AOC have to say? I'm kind of curious. Do you guys want to hear what AOC has to say? Curious.
Beautiful speech.
Recognize Ms. Ocasio-Cortez from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to address briefly, quickly, that moment about privilege and all of this that we're seeing here. It was a very beautiful speech by the gentlelady who, as she mentioned, was helped lead on the now majority side, the Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Subcommittee. But I think it's so exemplary of the point that she also oversaw the elimination of the Civil Rights Subcommittee on this committee, which really kind of gives the whole game away. We show up, we give speeches, we give flowery words, but at the end of the day, participate in the structural erosion of the rights and representation of people that are marginalized, women.
It seems like it's a completely separate issue. Anyway, Hunter Biden, after this was all done, did end up actually talking to the press. This is what he had to say.
Despite this, Republicans have sought to use. Would you please? I'll answer your question. Be quiet and let me make a statement. What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden? Let me.
Dog, man, they can't even get his statement. Damn, Jesus Christ. Whoa, damn.
Start again. Hunter Biden was and is a private citizen. Despite this, Republicans have sought to use him as a surrogate to attack his father. And despite their improper partisan motives, on 6 different occasions since February of 2023, we have offered to work with the House committees to see what and how relevant information to any legitimate inquiry could be provided. Our first 5 offers were ignored. And then in November, they issued a subpoena for a behind-closed doors deposition, a tactic that the Republicans have repeatedly misused in their political crusade to selectively leak and mischaracterize what witnesses have said. What are you going to do in the House? Last fall, Chairman Tender made an explicit offer to conduct that people like Hunter and had.
Dude, can somebody like just smack that dude in the face or something? Shut the fuck up. Like, it's not a free speech thing. It's an annoying thing, right? Like, he got to say you're a crack addict, right? And everybody left him alone, right? At a certain point, I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to learn about the legislative process, and he's fucking interrupting me. Now it's like you got to call him a crack addict like 3 times to his face. What more do you want?
That's said. What are you going to do when the House? Last fall, Chairman Contempt made an explicit offer to conduct that people like Hunter and had like him the option to attend a deposition or a public hearing, whichever they chose. Hunter chose.
Jesus Christ! Can somebody just fucking just quick, just once? Somebody just grab him by the shirt collar and drag him out. Jesus Christ! Trying to listen. Fuck.
An option to attend a deposition or a public hearing, whichever they chose. Hunter chose a hearing where Republicans could not distort, manipulate, or misuse that testimony.
Mr. Biden, why did you put your dad on speakerphone with your business partners if he had no involvement in your business?
Do you have a dad? Did he call you?
Yes.
Answer the phone?
Yes.
Okay.
But why did you need to talk to him during business meetings if he had nothing to do with your business?
Wait, he's answering the question. I can't hear him. What is she? He's talking. I can't. Okay. Damn. Now I just want to hear him testify because apparently it's impossible to hear him speak. Impossible. Hunter Biden's dude. No wonder Hunter Biden's paintings are so expensive, man. Apparently he's impossible to get a hold of.